What's up, guys? So today I want to share with you the way that I use to progressively overload. I use primarily what is called a double progressive system, and this is a very safe, effective, and simple way to get bigger and stronger. So in this video, I'm going to go into exactly how to use this system, from selecting your exercises, your rep ranges, your number of sets, your weights, and how to progress. So first of all, you need to choose your exercises. I would stick primarily to compound movements. Both barbell and dumbbell are okay. Which exact exercises you choose is up to you. Today I am focusing on incline dumbbell, incline barbell, and two versions of pull downs. Once you have your exercises selected, you should choose a rep range. This might be 3 to 5, 5 to 8, 8 to 12, 12 to 15, 15 to 20 if you really hate yourself. But once you choose that rep range, this is going to determine how you progress. Then you're going to want to choose a certain number of sets, a certain volume. For beginners, this might be just 2-3 sets. For more advanced athletes, you're probably looking at 4, 5, 6, maybe even 7 or 8 sets per exercise per workout. You are also going to want to choose a weight. Now this could be quite difficult, but this is what warm-ups are for. So as you can see, I'm warming up on incline dumbbell, and every set, every rep, I am trying to feel the weight. I'm assessing how fast the weight is moving, how easy it feels, how many reps I have left in the tank. And I can use this information to try to guess which weights are going to be appropriate for those working sets. Furthermore, once you get going, you can look at previous workouts. So my previous workout with incline dumbbell, I did 2 sets of 10 and a set of 7 with 34 kilos. And I'm trying to work in the 8 to 12 rep range. So 34 kilos seems like a pretty reasonable estimation for what would be appropriate for getting into that 8 to 12 rep range. So I start a set with 34 kilos and I rep it out. I see how many reps that I can get. And on this set, I actually get 14 reps. Now 14 is obviously outside of that 8 to 12 rep range. So because I get too many reps, which is actually a good problem to have, I decide to increase the weight. Now, which weight do I use? How much do I go up? Well, I consider. If I went up to 40 kilos, that would be probably too much. I don't think I could get into that 8 to 12 rep range with 40 kilos. It's just too much weight. I would probably only get 5 to 7 reps. 38 kilos? Also maybe a little bit heavy. I increase by the smallest possible amount. In this case, 36 kilo dumbbells. And I rep it out. I see how many reps I can get. I'm going fairly close to failure. I would say about 1 rep shy of failure. Again, trying to get into that 8 to 12 rep range for my working sets. Again, during the set, I am constantly assessing my progress. I am looking at the bar speed, or in this case, the dumbbell speed. I'm seeing how many reps I'm getting. And on this set, I get 10 reps. Now 10 is obviously inside of that 8 to 12 rep range, which means that this is an appropriate weight. And I think to myself, could I get 8 to 12 reps again with the same weight? And I think yes. I can definitely get at least 8 reps. So I do another working set with the same amount of weight. And on this set, I get 8 reps. And this is going to be one of the biggest differences that I see between advanced athletes and beginners. More advanced guys, they are assessing, they are contemplating, they are thinking every set, every rep. Am I doing what is proper? Am I using proper technique? Am I using appropriate loads? So because I got 8 reps on this set, I think, okay, I can probably get another set of 8 reps. Because it wasn't too challenging. It was pretty tough, but it wasn't like a complete grinder near the end. And I think I can get another set in that 8 to 12 rep range. So I start another set. And on this set, I also get 8 reps. As you can see, this set is a little bit tougher than the set before. As you keep going, you're going to get more fatigue. And so the sets are going to become more difficult, which is normal. It's natural. And this is part of just training with weights. So I do another set. I think maybe I can get 8 reps. I'm not 100% sure, but I might as well go for it. On this set, I actually don't get 8 reps. I only get 7 reps. Now 7 is obviously less than 8. It is out of that 8 to 12 rep range. So what is appropriate is actually reducing the weight. You don't need to stay with the same weight for all of your working sets. If you have to reduce the weight or increase the weight to get into the proper rep range, that is totally fine. In fact, that is going to be better for your progression. So again, I reduce the weight. I go down to 34 kilos. And this isn't a step backwards. This isn't a bad thing. It's just what is required to get into that targeted rep range of 8 to 12 reps. And just by reducing the weight by about 5%, I know that I can get into that rep range. And on this set, I do. I get 10 reps. And, that's fine. Next workout, what I can do is I can go directly from 20 kilos to 30 kilos to 36 kilos. I won't even have to bother with 34 kilos because I know if I did 34 kilos, I'm going to get 14 reps, 15 reps, 16 reps, which is not appropriate. Then I move on to incline barbell. Now, as you can see, I'm just using 50 kilos. And this is because I think it's important to warm up because it's a separate exercise. It feels a little bit different. The movement pattern is a bit different. You're using the chest a little bit differently, the shoulders, the triceps, and you don't want to go right into a working weight with a barbell. So for me, I'm using a 5 to 8 rep range for the incline barbell. Last session, I did a bunch of sets with 80 kilos in that 5 to 8 rep range. Now, this session, I'm only using 70 kilos. This is because I'm fatigued from those 6 working sets of dumbbells. If I used 80 kilos, I might only get 3 or 4 reps. So I would prefer to use 70 kilos and stay in that 5 to 8 rep range. And I might be keeping a rep or 2 in the tank. These are a little bit of an easier effort compared to the dumbbells. Because this workout, my primary goal was the dumbbells. It wasn't the barbells. And that's fine. You can actually switch which exercises you do first. And I think that's a good way to progress. All right, now we're moving on to pull downs. So I actually did these alternated with the dumbbell work and the barbell work, just because I think it's good to alternate the pushing and the pulling movement. You save time, it's easier to warm up, and I think you just get more out of both of the movements. So this is 80 kilos here. This is after a 60 kilo warm-up set. And again, I'm just trying to feel the weight. I'm trying to feel how quickly it moves, how easy it feels, and I'm just trying to get warmed up and get the muscles loose. So last session I did 3 sets of 10 and a set of 8 with 100 kilos on this exercise. And again, I'm trying to work in that 8 to 12 rep range, and so my goal is to get 12 reps. And some of these last reps are a little bit ugly, a little bit cheated, but that's fine. It's a pull down. I'm not going to get hurt doing pull downs. So a few of the reps are a little bit cheated, but again, I'm just trying to get into the top of that rep range. So because I only got 12 reps and the last few were a little bit cheated, I decided to stay with the same weight. I could go up to 110 kilos, but again, I could only get probably 5 or 6 reps, which is out of that 8 to 12 rep range that I'm looking for. So I just stay with 100 kilos and I just keep banging out sets of 8 to 12 reps. One of the major advantages that I see to this method is that you get a really good feel for certain weights. So for me right now, I know how 100 kilos feels. I know exactly how many reps I can expect to get. So for me, I know what that feels like. So if I do a set of 10 or a set of 8 or a set of 12, I can compare that to previous performances. And when I add weight, I know how that weight feels too. And I can compare it to previous performances. And this is a key part of progressive overload, being able to feel a certain weight. So then I moved on to wider grip work, and I want to be in the sort of 15-ish rep range. And this is an exercise where I'm not quite as strong. Obviously the weight is a little bit lower because I'm in a less biomechanically advantageous position. And as you can see, I'm cheating a little bit. Some of these reps, my chest is caving in a little bit. I'm not activating the proper musculature. And probably what I should have done is after the set, reduce the weight. However, ego sort of got involved a little bit, and I didn't reduce the weight. I stuck with the same weight. And you can see during this set, I don't quite use full range of motion, and I'm cheating a lot more than I probably should. And one thing you should realize is that reducing the weight is not always a bad thing. In fact, a lot of the times you can get more EMG muscle activity, more muscle activation from using a lighter weight. A lot of people think, oh, if I use heavier weights, I always get more motor unit recruitment, more muscle activity. But that's just not true. Sometimes using a lighter weight will actually get you more growth. So as you can see, I reduced the weight to 70 kilos, and you can see my back is getting a lot more contraction. I'm using a more full range of motion, I'm using more control, and to be honest, I felt this set way more in my back and in my rear delts. And that's just because I can use proper form, and I can feel the muscle working a lot better. So don't be afraid to reduce the weight. I think in a lot of circumstances, it can actually get you better progress. Then I moved on to some isolation movements, and the way I approach isolation movements is a little bit different. I'm not as strict when it comes to progressive overload. Of course, I want to be stronger, but it's more about feeling the muscle. It's more about using proper form and really focusing on applying the tension to the area that I want to. So I'm using 27.5 kilos here, and honestly, the weight isn't that important. Again, I'm trying to get stronger, but it's not the most important thing in the world. On a compound movement, strength is basically everything. You really want to be progressively overloading. It needs to be a major focus. But on isolation movements, it's important, but sort of secondary. Now, in terms of rep ranges, I would say if you are interested in strength, you should choose 3 to 5 reps. If you are interested in a mixture of strength and size, 5 to 8 is going to be appropriate. If you're interested in primarily size, 8 to 12 is probably a good area to take a look at. If you're interested in size and maybe endurance as well, 12 to 15 is going to be your best shot. And if you are interested in endurance and you also hate yourself, 15 to 20 is going to be a very good option. You don't want to have the range be too big. So if you are picking a rep range of 3 to 8, that means that your 3 rep max for sets is going to have to become your 8 rep max before you progress in load. That is a huge range. That might take weeks and weeks and maybe even months for your 3 rep max to turn into your 8 rep max. It's just too much. If you choose like a 5 to 15 rep range, again, turning your 5 rep max into a 15 rep max, honestly, that could take a whole year, and that's just not a very efficient or effective way to progressively overload. So if anything, you want to have a fairly small window. You could even go like 7 to 8, or 8 to 10, or 10 to 12. I think a fairly small window is going to be a good option, because that means you can increase in load more often. As for how much weight to add, I would honestly add the smallest amount possible. Again, today I went from 34 to 36 kilos. That's just like a 5% increase. And I think 5% is a pretty good rule of thumb. If you're increasing the weight by 5%, you're probably going to reduce the reps by the appropriate amount. Also, this should go without saying, but you should be keeping a training log. You should not expect to be able to remember last workout. I would never be able to remember how many sets, how many reps, and what weight I used. So it's very important to write it down. If you do not have a training log, make sure you start a training log. I'll put a link in the description for how to set up a training log. I think it's incredibly important and by far the best investment that you can make. In your training, I mean, financially would be a time machine plus Amazon stock. That might be better. Or Bitcoin. So let me know how you progress. Do you use a triple progression? Are you like complicated stuff? Do you use double progression like I mentioned here? Are you a commoner who uses single progression? Do you not progress at all? Are you someone who doesn't like results? Let me know what you do. Stay safe wherever you are. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. and I will see you next time. Peace.